shall not fear the arrow by day, nor shall I fear the terror by night. The God who governs angel armies has set encampment around me. Whom shall I fear? Angel has set around me. Whom shall I shall not fear the arrow by day, nor shall I fear the terror by night. My God, who angel has set encampment around me. Oh, thank you, Lord. Whom shall I fear? 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 The God who governs angel armies has set encampment around me. Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear? I don't have to be afraid. Oh, whom shall I fear? Angel armies, has set around me. Whom shall all is well. All is well. I The God who governs angel armies, the God who's in charge of the armies of angel armies, the God who governs angel armies are set encampment around me, protection around me, strong tower around me. Whom shall I fear? The God who governs angel armies has set encampment around me. His angels, they're all around me. Protection around me. Whom shall I fear?
Well, you can't beat that. That is, yeah, and you can say whatever you want. I love that song, and I love the Aeolians, and especially, he's one of my favorite musicians, John Stoddard. So, Orion, how you doing this
afternoon? I'm good. Happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath to you. Happy Sabbath to you. I thought there was something called an off week, but I guess it's not.
Listen, working in youth and children's ministry is one thing. Working with you in children's and youth ministry is another thing. I feel like, those kids that just come up and say, Mommy, let's go here and let's do this. And then be like, nah, no, they need to do it now. And let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, okay, Orion, let's do this. I was like, okay, let's go.
So you're saying that you're working with a kid. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm saying that we are child at heart.
That's right.
Youth, we have it all in our system.
I'll go. I believe that this morning started off with a dream, and I've always had a had a vision that I believe God gave me as far as the youth and ministry ministries are concerned, children and youth ministries are concerned. But today was a little bit different. I woke up and I actually went back to sleep. So it wouldn't be accurate if I said last night. It couldn't be, because I woke up and I went back to sleep.
Day-night dream.
And right. And I know that one of the things that we've always had over the past couple of years was this term that said no red lights, no red lights, right? Because there's always, I'm not going to say always, but there's something always comes in between a plan, and, you know, it's called red lights. And then we stop and we recognize we could have done it, or we could have found another way. So I think that's where we get that whole no red lights is come from. And it's still, I hope so, it's still hanging over your office.
It's somewhere in the office. It's there.
It's there somewhere. It's there somewhere. And I know some people might say, okay, why would you have a discussion or talk about this during a time when we should, you know, people feel that we should be in church? But I do believe that it's a spiritual thing. I do believe that it's a time that we should be able to take this time to express the vision where God wants us to be as far as our youth is concerned in all of our churches. And so because of that, we've opened up our lines of our phone lines, and our phone lines are opened up at 301-969-8375. Some of you may be on your cell phone, and it may be a little bit it might be too small for you to see, but again, it's 301-969-8375. Brenda just wanted to say happy Sabbath to you, and also Deanna, happy Sabbath to you also. Happy Sabbath to everyone. And so it started off as a dream. Can we go with that? It started off as a dream, and we were all on the grounds. And I just wanted to remind some of you that our grounds has about 600, close to 600 acres. It houses Pine Forge Academy. Actually, it is, and Pine Forge Church, Pine Forge Academy, Pine Forge Church, and the conference office is also on that grounds. And when I saw that in the dream, we were all in a building. And it was a little bit different in the way I put it on Facebook, but we all were in a building, and it was over 2,000 of us there. Adventurers.
When you say 2,000 of us, you mean Pathfinders or just people in general?
Pathfinders alone.
Pathfinders alone. Okay.
Over 2,000 Pathfinders alone and adventurers on the ground. On the ground. I knew it was that because as you looked up, you could see the rows, and you could see the back row of them standing in flank position. So I knew just by looking at it, it was over 2,000 people. Even when I look at it now, like 2,000. But of course, there were people on the side, or like parents, making sure that everybody was set.
Ready.
We were ready to come out in flanks, come out in flanks, right? And I remember just standing there. I can't remember. We walked out. It was myself, it was Jenny. Jenny is our executive coordinator for Pathfinders, and we went out and we made a right. And I could not recognize the place. And I said to Jenny, where are we? Or something like that. Where are we? Because I almost felt like we were at Potomac Conference or somewhere. She looked at me like I wrote it out like I had two noses or something. Like I looked crazy. Like, what's wrong with you?
You probably thought you were in Gillette, where the Camporees were just there the other day.
Right.
I
would look like that. Now it felt a little bit more closed in, like a school campus, but there were different buildings, further out. And we ended up walking, because we go to the stand, where we salute, the flags coming through. We're on the band. We coming towards the bandstand. John Hall comes up to me and he says to me, we ought to hurry up there. It looks like it's going to rain. And I'm like, don't worry about it. Yeah, camp meeting. I said, right, camp meeting. I said, don't worry about it. It'll be by, we can at least get to where we can get to the pavilion in time. And if we got to the pavilion in time, it'll be fine. He looked at me, the same look that Jenny gave me is the same look he looked at me and was like, pavilion? There's no pavilion.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Right? There's no pavilion. I was like, oh man, something's going on here. And as I realized when I came out of the dream, I don't know how quick or how I can't. I can't. I got up and I said, it almost felt like, wow, that's a nice place that it was. I wasn't really looking at more facility, but it didn't look like what I normally thought it should look like. And it made me say to myself, oh, a change. And because I'm a type of person that don't like that, quick changes or those type of changes like that. I said, no, vision. You know what I mean? Vision. It's something that I wanted to share because I think that a couple of people even put it in the chat that's coming from Habakkuk 2, where it says, the Lord answered me and said, write the vision, make it plain upon the tablets that he may run and readeth it. And I think that that's why I said, hey, I wanted to come on this afternoon just for a couple of minutes and share that if God wants us to get to a place, Orion, there should be no red lights in getting there, So that's what I wanted. I really wanted to come together and share that today and give our people a chance or some time to come together and say, hey, let's make this thing better. Let's make it on top of the rung.
Do you remember the first time you had that kind of vision?
It was a long time ago.
Because we've been hearing this. I've been hearing this for a while.
How long you've been here?
And I've been here since 2014.
Wow, 14.
Yes.
You put up with me for that long. 14. And you heard about that going in then, or you heard about
probably like next year. It's probably like 2015.
Yeah, because I wasn't talking about it in 14.
At least not when I came in.
I didn't want to overwhelm you. I didn't want to.
Too late.
Right. But hey, Brenda, how you doing? Brenda Walsh. Wait, I think she's still in Trinidad. I think she was in Trinidad this week or something like that. Brenda was in Trinidad. I look at the pandemic and I see where we are during the pandemic, and I look at our young people. And I don't want to bite my tongue towards this at all, but anytime we call our young people together, let's say camp meeting, and we're talking about Pathfinders alone, or we're out there camping 1,700 easy, right? There are a lot of other, even when we take out to Oshkosh, we're close to 2,000.
Right.
And one of the things that I'm not going to say it puzzled me, but one of the things that got to me was that I recognized that out of all the churches that's in the Allegheny East Conference, and let's be honest now, this is even before the pandemic. Let's not blame the pandemic on everything. There was an AYS dying, a Federation dying. Pathfinders wasn't dying. Adventures wasn't dying, but you see there was a little dip that was going on there. And as soon as we were ready to pull that dip back up, then we had the pandemic. So the pandemic hurt us where we stopped doing AY even to a shutdown. And Pathfinders, all right, then we get a situation with Pathfinders also, right? Pathfinders was even shut down for a while. We had a whole area, actually a couple of areas that had no Pathfinders at all. And we can't let the devil have his way with that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, you remember even just before the pandemic, we had the plan of going around and even doing AY programs or, just doing something so that we could help kick it up.
Right.
And of course, Mr. COVID.
Yeah, whatever we want to call it.
Came around. But the thing is, we can't let COVID hold us down. Even though, you get knocked out, lose your breath for a second, but you catch yourself and you're ready to go again.
That's right.
And even in Pathfinders, man, I'm so excited right now. I don't know how you're feeling, but right now at this moment when we're talking about Pathfinders, I am this week has been rough because we had some late nights. I had to beg the rest of these Pathfinder team. I'm like, y'all, I'm a morning person. They had me all up doing work up 9:30. And I'm saying, some of you like this, but you do your part. Tonight, I'm going to do mine in the morning. but
Ma-
we coming out
Yeah.
strong with
Thanks,
something.
Brenda. Thanks, Brenda. Brenda's saying happy Sabbath, Pat. Love how you're passionate about ministering to our young people. Keep shining for Jesus, and you for our children, and otherwise, Brenda. Thank you too. I what I saw when I saw what was happening, when we saw what was happening, we decided to come out with Moodle. Now, I want to start with our Pathfinders in this, is that even if you have one, come on, let's just move towards that. Even if you have one child in your church, or one child who's willing, 9 years old and above, who's willing to, or their parents are willing to go to Pathfinders, start it up.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do it. It can be done.
And we had clubs. I think it's the Bay Area or some area that had probably one or two Pathfinders, and they had everything going on like it's a regular
That's
full
right.
Pathfinder club at 25 or
That's
something.
right.
When they had their Pathfinder Day, of course, we had other clubs come in and support that
Sure.
small group, but you still do it. You don't want to reach to the point where you lose one because it's only one. No,
That's right.
we going hard for just one person.
But even if it's just
Yeah.
for one. And I remember attending a church that had one Pathfinder and had a Pathfinder Day. And we still attended. Everyone still was there. And it was like the biggest thing over that one person. And I think that that's a great thing to do. We should not allow the pandemic, especially where we are now. I can understand when it first started, we had fears. We still have fears, but we still, we have to try to figure out new ways to do this. But I want all Pathfinder organizations in Allegheny East to start back up and moving, even if it's just online, to be able to do. And remember, we also said this: if you have a problem with getting a Zoom account, or if you have, if you need help with it, you can call us with it, because that's what's important for our young people. That's where that whole no red lights come from. You should be able to call us, let us know. And matter of fact, the lines are open now. If you have any questions or comments or criticism, we'll take everything. We want to be able to say, Pathfinders, wherever you are, let's start back. Let's start moving, and let's start getting things rolling again. Right?
I know one of the big things that we hear all the time is leadership. There's not enough leadership in a church to do it.
Right.
What would you say to them that having that struggle with finding people to help in the clubs?
Yeah. You know what? First of all, let me just say, we have a Pathfinder club connected to the conference office. All right, that's one thing I want to say. Not that I want to draw anyone out of their church, but we have the Allegheny East Eagles. We have the Allegheny East Eagles, where if your church is not doing it right now, you can make sure that you stay on track with your friend, companion, explorer, etc. You keep moving with that, right? That's one thing. One thing you can always do, and we won't turn anybody around as far as that part is concerned. So we do want you to know that there is a club set for Pathfinders from there. And let me go back to the church. Even if you don't have leaders in your church to do it, there are churches that may be close by that you can come together. I've seen that happen in our area, in the Baltimore area, where a couple of the adventure clubs have come together, or a couple of the Pathfinder clubs have come together in order to keep them strong. Beverly asked us a question, or you want to answer that one? What about our adventurers? And I believe we're talking about the from the conference level.
What we don't have a conference level adventurer clubs, but what we're doing is, if there's problems, they're doing merge churches. Churches are merging to make sure that adventurers still keep. So if your church does not have an adventurer club, or you need help with leadership and stuff, we find a church that's close to you. Contact our area coordinators, or even contact us. Well, you could contact us at the office, and then we direct you to who needs to. So we're not making any excuses for not having something.
Right.
Even in this virtual world where we could do a lot of things now, in terms of having a presenter or instructor from a different area. that could help, this is what, if you need help in a particular topic or some craft or something with adventurers or even pathfinders,
Right.
we find somebody somewhere to do it. I know it's hard to deal with adventurers online, but I know the last training they did a section on giving ideas on how to do virtual club meetings. So we coming up with everything. I mean, whether it's adventurers or pathfinders, no excuse. There's
Right.
no excuse.
Right. It's no excuse. And I want to thank you for that, Beverly, too, which Beverly is one of our strong adventurer leaders.
Mhm.
What I want to say is that I want let me just be super transparent with you that I had a couple of our adventurer leaders, and I think I did talk to you about this, that said, hey, Pat, why don't we go back to when remember, we changed the rules. Remember, we changed the rules. And one of the rules that we changed, we're going to come to it. One of the rules that we changed was that it had to be a family situation. In other words,
Right.
the kids couldn't come unless their parents had come with them. And there was a dip in adventurers because of that. You know that. There was a little dip because parents were dropping off their kids to adventurers, go do their laundry, go, do whatever they needed to do. And adventurers was full because of that. Now, what I want us to do, Orion, is to be able to get with our VP of administration, our risk management, and come back again with that so that we could look over it again to see if we can make it look Sabbath schoolish
and
so that we can build that again.
Maybe if you talk about, I know a lot of grandparents bring their children, and that's one of the reasons why, you have that roller coaster in terms of your numbers high or low at certain points, because we usually have a lot of grandparents. But when it came up with the family idea, there was a kind of reason for behind it.
Yours.
But of course, I think that we can make accommodations and work it out so that the coverage, which is absolutely necessary for that age group, and making sure that our children are protected, we could look at the coverage and see how we could make that adjustment and accommodate those families that might not be able to always be there 100% of the time.
Right. And I'm glad that you said that, because one side of it in adventurers was because it's the evangelistic tool of bringing the whole family in. And we all know that once you're dealing with children, the families are always going to follow through and come through with their children, right? The other side of it you're right about is that we moved into an era of where we have to be thoughtful and we have to be protective over our children. And the coverage is not necessarily there. And I'm glad that you said that. And because Allegheny East is a large region, we have different rules for different states. So you may have one rule for Pennsylvania. Remember the Sandusky thing that happened at Penn State that changed everything for Pennsylvania and all the different stages. Can I go to what Beverly was saying, though? I think this is great what Beverly was saying. Beverly was saying Mitchellville, which, by the way, is a great church, is close by the Bowie area. So those of you who are in Maryland, if your church has stopped doing adventures because of COVID, here we have a church, Mitchellville. I know Beverly Stone is one of our directors there, who says that you can host children in their she can host children in her club if needed. We have been going strong since the beginning of COVID. Awesome. That makes me really feel good that we have been going strong. And thank you for that, Beverly. You can still stay around.
And I'm sure that the leadership of Mitchellville, if your church or you're a leader, adventurer leader, and you're struggling and trying to figure out how to do it, make contact with them, make contact with Beverly, or call us, and we could connect you so that you could share ideas. Networking is key for us now.
Sure.
In sharing and making sure that our children get what they deserve.
Yeah. And I know I want to move through it because I kind of want to, I don't want to have a vision of a building and not have the vision that God has given us of the ministry. Right? The building is just what houses, the ministry. The ministry is all about the people. So I don't want to jump on here saying, oh, I had this dream. She put up the her email. I don't want to have this dream of a building and the building lay waste.
And you could see right now with COVID, what happened
No.
until when COVID started, there was no, I mean, we all had to leave the building.
That's right. That's right. I love the name of them, the Tiny Torches. Tiny Torches at gmail.com. Anyone who's in this area that want to start their children going, I know it ends at 8 years old. And 8 years old, they say it should be around kindergarten age to 8 years old, but we've had little babies in that.
And you see, when you as a parent helping and you bring your ones that's a little younger than, it's okay because you're there and you kind of give them that. That's one of the reasons when that family concept works.
Right. And that's right. That's how the family concept works, because everybody has to be able to come together. Thanks, Beverly. Mitchellville Tiny Torches, or MVille Tiny Torches at gmail.com. Thank you for that. And can you imagine all the areas working with that? You know,
one good thing is our team. Our team, we have awesome people. I mean, that's always willing to help. If we call and send an email, we have somebody in this area, you could be sure that in a day or two they're going to hit you back and get in contact with you, because all our team, they just have this passion for children and that passion.
And you know what? One thing I don't want to slow us down. Hey, Gary, what's up? I don't want for us to be slow. Sometimes they move so quick. They have a no red lights mentality. But then we asked for that. We kind of said, listen, our children are important. Our kids are important. Our young people are important. So just keep on moving as we need to, so that we can get our kids on track. We can get them all on track. And remember, there is the transfer from adventurers to pathfinders between 8 and 9 years old, depending on how the parents want to make that transition. But again, the concept that we're going with is no red light. So now that Beverly had brought it up, let's put them all together. We do the best that we can to move to having our kids from friend, companion, explorer. The Moodle is our online, right? It's our online classroom that we have gotten together. So remember, go back to your Pathfinder directors. Orion, can you kind of explain how to go back to the directors? I mean, how that hierarchy goes from the coordinators to the church.
So every area, we have a area coordinator. Should I start that way and come down? Or
no, we start up and come down. You good?
Okay. So we have our area coordinators. The area coordinators report to our executive coordinator. I'm going up down in a kind of way. And then the executive coordinator communicates and reports directly to the director. And this is for all our ministries. That's the chart that we're using for all the ministries. But let's look at Adventures and Pathfinders. So we have the area coordinators. Every area, we have someone there. And the area coordinator coordinates that area through the directors.
Right.
So each church has their club director, Pathfinder or Adventurer, and they would meet monthly to see what's happening. They will do area events, area activities, different things. But the area coordinator is the one that would coordinate them to make sure that our schedules and everything is working good. So at the director level, now we're coming down to the church. Each church that has a club has a director.
Right.
And in their clubs, there's staff. You have instructors, you have counselors, you have your treasurer, you have, different persons in that helps build the Pathfinder clubs. And then you have your Pathfinder. The director should be sitting on your church board.
That's right. Hold on. That's key right there. Not just the Pathfinder director, adventurer director. Correct. They should be sitting on the board in order for some of these changes, or to get whatever you need to get. Also, in order to do ministry. Go ahead. I cut you off. Go ahead.
That's okay. So in addition to sitting on the board, the director needs to be in close contact and communication with the pastor.
Right.
You should be sharing all your activities, all your things, letting the pastor know what's happening all the time, so that when you reach to the board, he's already up with it. You don't surprise him when it comes
Right.
to board. Nothing is a surprise, should be a surprise for the pastor. The
For the
pastor should
pastor.
know what's going on. If you're
Mhm.
dealing with problems or any obstacles, let the pastor know. He's the one that would help and push, especially for the children and youth. So the director sits on the board to make sure that everything is brought there. Letting your board know so that when you have, for example, now looking at Pathfinders, we have Gillette, I almost say Oshkosh, coming up,
Right.
Camporee coming up
You can't say that anymore, right?
in a couple of years. And as you plan, now you should be planning ways to save money, have fundraisers, and do everything in preparation for that. So you
Right.
should be in communication with your pastor, your board, letting them know what's going on, so that they're aware of it. So that when 2023 comes, you don't say, "Oh, we have Oshkosh next year, and this is the first time they're hearing about it."
Right.
This is where that communication goes in. You also invite your leaders, your elders, your pastor to your meetings. Ask them to host some of your lectures, your trainings, different things. Some of them have all these different skills and abilities that they could help you in your club. So you stay in contact. So that's where all that connection comes in. Of course, we try to make sure that if you have a problem or situation at the church level, you deal with your pastor. If you have to come up the chain, you let your area coordinator know. If it's something that can be worked out there, if it can't, it would go to the executive coordinator,
Right.
and then it will come up to the director. Now, there's certain situations that you might have to just come to the director, but usually we try to just come up the chain. And of course, once we reach there, if it's something that has to go higher, it goes to the president administration of our conference and keep moving there.
Right. It sounds like a heavy process. It's not that heavy if you get online, know who your representatives are, as it goes up and down. Because what we need to do, our job, is to be able to build these type of ministries in your church and making sure that nothing will stop our kids, nothing at all will stop them from being able to get what they need to get. That's what's one of the most important pieces of the puzzle. So, it's what I wanted to share with them is that the next side of it is our AYS, and our AYS. When we call for AYS meeting, we should have over 100 people at the leaders at that meeting or more because of their staff.
Right.
Because of their
Right.
staff. All churches, even if you don't do AYS the same way like we used to do it back in the day, there still has to be a form, or there has to be a society in your church that leads out when it comes to our young people. That's where AYS ministries are about.
I think one of the things that we have to let everyone know is that your AEC YCM team is here as a big resource for you.
That's right.
We here to help. If some people, we hear about things sometimes months after, and we like, why you didn't call out, tell us something before?
Right.
Because we might not have all the solutions, but we have a lot of solutions.
Right.
And if we don't, we will know where to find the help. So if you are having trouble with your AY, you want suggestions, you could call and say, listen, y'all could do an AY for me tomorrow, next week or whenever it is. We could hook up something for you, whether it's in person or virtually or whatever, something to help. If you need help with your staff, if you need a specialized training,
Right.
individual with your church or anything, call us, because that's what we here for, and we want success in it. We don't want to hear that we had a red light and you couldn't go through it, because
that's right. We'll pay the ticket.
We'll pay
the ticket.
Remember that Adventist actually is like, what would happen when you go so fast? It's like, we'll deal with the
We'll
effects
deal with
after.
it. But it's any means necessary. And I think that's the key. The reason why we came on this Sabbath morning is because any means necessary. Our young people are important, and we need to be able to press forward and be able to get the work done. Again, just in case someone wanted to call between these hours, is 301-969-8375 is on the bottom. Any kind of encouragement, any kind of suggestions or whichever as we going through. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let us look at one of the other ministries that we have. We have some other ministries that we're responsible for, and I just want you to know that even though it's like 13, 14 and climbing regularly,
Right.
we try our best to do stuff. So even if you might not see something happening, there's always something cranking in the back. So like right now we have a couple things cranking and whining in the back. I remember when I first started working in this department, um Pastor Graham was like, okay, Orion, I want this out tomorrow. I was like, nope, it's not going to be out tomorrow because I am not going to put out anything that's halfway. And he was like, oh, well, you could just put it out. I said, no, not, no, no, no. So, you kind of had to slow him down. And then by the time we were figured out, no, he knows, don't come and tell me that we're going to put out something and it's not done properly.
Right.
So there's things that we have cranking in the back trying to figure out, not figure out, but putting it together so that when it comes out right. So don't think that we're just sitting here. Of course, everybody knows this department don't just sit there, but
Right.
the other ministries like NSO and campus ministries, we have some things going on. We have some people we're putting together so that we could reach our young people in these areas.
Right.
I don't know. Let's talk a little bit about young adults before we go on to them. Young adult ministry.
Yeah, so we are launching young adults, and I think a lot of people always want to figure out, what do you mean by young adults? Young adults are like is the age of young adults is like college students and older, and back in the day, we never really called it young adults. It's just that when you reach that certain age, you're just going to be in ministry anyway. You're just doing whatever you need to do anyway. But now we see fit that there's a young adult ministries, and we're gonna launch that coming up actually very soon. We're gonna launch it with a week of prayer this fall, just so we have activities, events, keep our young adults just being able to share with one another. So we're going to go ahead and push that, but that's coming up. The young adult ministries is set for young families. It's set for college students, those who are in their their 20s, their early 20s moving up. So we do have coming out of Metro Church, Robert Harris, who's going to be leading us with that. And we're going to bring on Megs to launch that with a week of prayer. And I think that's going to turn out to be pretty good. That's going to turn out being pretty good.
And we know that young people, the young adults, I shouldn't say young people, but there's so much, but the young adults like to be active. And that's one of the things that we're looking at for. I know the times that we're in right now is a little more protective time,
right?
But we still want to be active in the community, in the church, in everything. So just listen out and take part. We got to reach our young people in colleges. A lot of times we lose them during that time, and we got to find a way to keep them, especially during that time. That's where you have young adults campus ministries. In fact, all our ministries connect, but that campus ministries and young adult would have to, work together so that we reach them, even if they're on our Adventist campus or other campuses, wherever they are. We got to still stay in contact with
what
them.
I like about that when it comes to the young adults, the college part of it, Justin was the one that came and said, hey, let's go ahead and put something together where we can have ministries on our campground. I mean, in our areas, we have plenty of colleges in our area that Adventist young people go to.
Right.
And that's where campus ministries really come in. You want to set up little churches in their areas. But not more than that, the other side of that is that you want to stay in contact with our college students who go to other places. So if my son decided he's going to the University of Arkansas or whatever the case may be, we still feel responsible for them, that we need to put them in contact with a church close by or a youth group close by, and that's where the connection all comes in, where we keep them there. So the campus ministry side of youth ministries is not for us just to go down to Oakwood and say, hey, here's $20 and thank you for being there. But it's to stay in contact with all of them and to also know where they are,
Right.
what's going on with them, keeping them connected.
It is important. Our children like to know that they are remembered and they're known. You don't want to just wait until they come back 20 years later and be like,
Right.
oh, how you doing? And be like, yeah, now you talking to me and I haven't heard from you for so long.
That's right.
We gotta stay in contact with them all the time. Sometimes we see them on Facebook and stuff and we don't say anything,
Right.
but giving them encouragement and just care packages and whatever it is we could do, so they know that they are still cared for and
Yeah.
thought about.
And here's the funny thing that you said that, and I know a lot of people don't know all of our what's being handled in the youth ministry, but NSO. Some people say, hey, what's NSO? The same way that we should be staying in contact with our children or our youth that go away to college, campus ministries, is the exact same way we do so with those who go away to military and come back, right? So most of them are of a young age that go out there. We want to make sure that even on their bases, or in their area where their base is, they have the opportunity to go to church and keep up with Sabbath school, keep up with events that's in their area. And we also have bases that are here in Allegheny East, in the Allegheny East territory.
Right.
Other people come in from different, from the different conferences that we ought to be able to say, hey, these are here's a group of federations that's close by you. Here's a federation that's close by you. Here's a Pathfinder club that's close by you, so that there could be a continuance of ministry.
One other thing too that I just thought about is that we have Adventist connection in the military. We know people who are of the faith that are in the military, and sometimes our children might be going through situations, and we have chaplains or anything that we could connect them with. So if we know certain things, that we're able to just make that call and say, hey, John, I have this friend of mine or this child from our conference that needs a talk or just a boost. And we could connect them with somebody that's already in the military that would have an idea of what they're going through.
That's right. And that's where there's, we have a lot of pastors who are in ministry, who are connected to chaplaincy, in the military, who are connected to the reserves, also the reserves, and those who are retired. They're retired. When I think about like Pastor Dyson, who's retired from the military, they still have a heart for that thing and a heart for young people. So those are the type that we also want to consider.
As you said that, it brought to my mind our Master Guide ministry,
right?
Where we continue to train our leaders to minister. And another exciting thing that we have going on is the Master Guide class that we have for pastors right now.
Right.
It is so enlightening and exciting when you have your pastors who are interested in getting that information to know how to connect to the young people, whether it's in their church, in their area, or in the conference, or whoever they are. And the Master Guide ministry, we have a lot of Master Guides out there. You can't just sit.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You can't be a Master Guide and be sitting and having our adventurer clubs or our Pathfinder clubs or any office in your church missing, and you sitting down there a Master Guide. You got to get up.
Do you remember when we were at the pavilion and we had a Master Guide investiture? And I believe we asked for the Master Guide, all Master Guides, those in uniform, out of uniform, whatever the case. If you have ever been to stand, it was almost half the pavilion that stood up. You said to yourself, wait, look how many Master Guides we have here. If you're a Master Guide, and those who are listening who are Master Guides, you should already know as a Master Guide that you are already in leadership capacity. As far as that is the highest honor that you can have in youth ministries, to be able to handle it all. So if you're a Master Guide in your church and you don't have AYS, it doesn't matter how old you are.
Get up.
Yeah, you ought to be able to get there, get things done, get things moving. But let me go back. I'm tickled with the amount of pastors that we have who are in it, and it's almost like we can't even we can't even get to the end time because everybody's always talking about, okay, so we could do this, we could do that, we could do that. I'm saying to myself, yeah.
I just can't wait to do camping with them.
Now that's one of the problems that we have is that they want to go camping, they want to go paintballing, they want to do all of that. So as far as that's concerned, I think that is Master Guide is one of the important pieces to the
when we did the 12-hour prayer last week, we had Master Guide on, and Katie had said something that we've heard over and over again. Sometimes we feel like we need to put our young people in the leadership position, and I totally agree with it. But there's something that they're looking for. Even though they want leadership, they want these positions, they want to be in place in certain things, they still want the older ones to be there with them.
Yeah, it's true.
They want to do it together.
It's true.
Because when something happened and they're not sure, they want to be able to hit you on the side and say, what should I do with this? Or help me out with this. They don't want you to just throw them in the fire and leave them. They want you to be there getting some burns too, and taking some of the brunt with them. So we want to encourage, even if you're in your 80s and you still have that zeal to be active, you don't have to necessarily get a name position, but connect yourself with some young person. You might see somebody with a lot of potential and just have that conversation, be their encouragement, be that mentor that you can be to help them as they lead. But the point is, they don't want us to leave them alone.
No,
they want us to be there supporting them.
You don't time out of youth ministries. No. You don't time out of it. It's
never
something that's in your blood, and if that's the way it is, you just keep on doing it because the young people definitely need us.
And I totally believe that. When I look at my father, been in youth ministry all his life, he not retired, but he didn't want to be up and down moving anymore. So he told them he doesn't want to be the director anymore, but he's going to be a church pastor until he's ready to retire. Right. He went in the church. Next thing you hear, he's like, we're not going to start a Master Guide class because we need to have a I'm like, Daddy, really? You're the pastor? You're like, that's okay. I'm going to start a Master Guide class.
Right.
He going to Pathfinders. He doing this. He finally, he went from one church, they moved him to another church. This church, he started another club there, a class That's there. Right. Next thing, he's like, oh, we're going cruising. The Master Guide class going cruising. I was like, really? Take Brianna and they gone.
Wow.
He retired, and next thing, he's the teacher of a class. He's a counselor in the Pathfinder class. Like, he cannot get away from it. And of course, all the young people want to come by the house. He's sitting down in the chair. They could do whatever and stuff. But it's just there. So it does not matter how old you are. If you're into youth ministry, if it's in you and you love them, you're going to do it any which way.
Right. Right. And that's a good piece of it. Youth ministries just keep on rolling and keep on rolling. Well, I know I don't want to keep us too long on it. I just want you to know, and of course I talked to you about this before. I'm sorry, but you don't have a 9 to 5 or whatever, however we have it. But
8 to 6, 9 to 5.
I think that I would like our young people to have something every first Sabbath of the year.
Of the year? Of the month.
Every first Sabbath of the month, right? Throughout the year, right? That you should have that something for them. Our children need to have something that they can go right to if churches are not doing it or not providing it or etc. That it should happen. We should get to the point that we're just busy. Now, when I say that, it's not necessarily a service, okay? I don't envision necessarily it being a service more than it just being someplace where they could come to. It might be knot tying. It might be memory verses to memorize. It might, it could be a whole bunch of different things. But I do think that it's time for us to, especially in this pandemic, we can't say post-pandemic because we're still here. It's something that we have to continue to give to our young people every first Sabbath, that we dedicate a whole day to them.
I just had a thought.
Go ahead.
My brains don't sleep, and that's sad. Sometimes I just wanted to chill. But as you said that first Sabbath thing, I'm thinking we call it something like YCM Connect, First Sabbath Connect, or something like that. So I mean, we'll put out something like this, but in your churches, in your wherever you have First Sabbath Connect, First Sabbath Youth Connect, or whatever, and then you have it at 4 o'clock. So at 4 o'clock today, we're gonna have a scavenger hunt or something, and you're just doing that for the children. So the children know in your church or in your area that the first Sabbath of the month there is something gonna happen, whether it's a social night or an hour of
Any
prayer,
anything.
a Bible study, something. But I think this gonna be something good. We could
Yep.
do something too from our end in the office, but we're
Sure.
gonna encourage areas, churches to do that first Sabbath Connect.
All out.
And
All out.
our word for like these two terms has been connect. Some people came up with the shirt. When we did the first one,
Yeah.
when they had the T-shirt, somebody put on the shirt. But we gotta do something. So I'm thinking hashtag First Sabbath Connect.
Yeah.
Something
Something.
all the time,
Something.
every Sabbath.
Something. Every first Sabbath
And,
is.
and and it's a challenge. Let's put that challenge out there and send in your whatever you're doing. Send and let us know. Put it on Facebook. Connect with our. Send us an email. Just let us know so that we could put it out there, and people from wherever other churches might jump on your First Sabbath Connect.
Yes, whatever it is. Oh, we
Whatever.
just want to keep our young people busy all the way through. And you know what? Forget the word busy, because that almost seems like we just need them doing something.
Mhm.
We need to keep them connected to each other. We need to keep them connected to God. And it's all possible. I know that we jumped on about the building and but you got to house ministry. It has to house ministry. And if it's not housing ministry, then what sense does it make, right? So
And that's part of the vision. That's part of the vision, because we don't want to have a building with nothing going on. Whether
sure.
it's applying for students, we want our
Right.
Virginia team to say, okay, we need to come up on the grounds to have a week out or whatever. Just come on down.
Yep. Yep. And then we roll from there. Oh, I like that. First Sabbath Connect. Why you keep thinking?
I tell you, I
Yeah,
can't get
that's First
away
Sabbath
from
Connect.
it.
So, this is what, I know that a lot of people are on watching, watching church go. Um, uh, and I think that we ought to keep coming back. We always said that we wanted to do something on Fridays or
Mhm.
do something during the week where we could stay in contact live like this with those who want to do something for youth ministries, do something for children ministries, have questions. And I think this is a great forum for us to be able to do that. I mean, not necessarily here Sabbath morning,
Right.
but definitely a time where we can come together and sharpen each other's skills, even bringing people on. Well, I mean, it's go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just before I know we're getting ready to wrap up, but just before, I know there's something that we've been pushing a while, and it's those of you who have been in it before. I mean, we have not sent anything out. Let me just say before you tell us, because we know we ain't sent nothing out recently, but we still we still gonna get it done, because we're getting some other people on our media team to help us keep up with all the million and one things that we're doing. And we want to be sharing stuff with you all the time, and we want you to stay in contact with us. So for you to get this information, we want you to um here you go.
I see it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
We want you to text hashtag AECYCM to the number 22300, so you could get on our connect list, so that when we start back, as soon as we starting back this week, but once we start back, we could, you would be there getting updated information from our ministry. So here it is again: text a hashtag AECYCM to the number 22300 and share this. You don't have to be a leader
Right.
in ministry. You could
Right.
be
It could be parents. It could be parents.
parent. Yes, because when we get other ministries doing things and you just want to know what's happening, you will just get that information. We're not going to bombard you and give you over populate your mind with a lot of things, but we just want to stay in contact, whether it's once a week or every 2 weeks, with what's going on.
That's right. That's right. Anyway, thanks for me stopping you from doing whatever you and your family has going on. But I do want to say that there's really no free days. I mean, it's really not. I mean, I'm sitting here literally saying, I want to tell people that we're not stopping at no red lights. We're going to keep on going. Every week, you'll hear from us. Every week, we'll leave something on your voicemail from Pathfinders, Adventurers. We want to make sure that that we just keep going. No red lights. Again, let me also share with you that we have a new administration for the next year. Our administration for the next year have already declared that young people and Orion, I know that you saw this on the surveys that went out, that they wanted leadership that care about young people. They wanted leadership that care about our children. And so let's just pay close attention to where we're going. Adventurers, I want to thank you too, Bev, for hanging with us through. Our young people are important. Our children are important. Whatever we do, no red lights, whatever rule we got to break to make sure our kids make it into the kingdom. I guess I shouldn't have said it that way. Let's go ahead and do that anyway. And I just want everyone to have a happy Sabbath. Oh, you want to end on something? You good?
No, I'm good. Just remember, no red lights, and our first Sabbath Connect. We're gonna be back again.
Yep.
Maybe at a different time too. We will come back because we know there's some people that might want to share stuff with us.
Sure.
And we always willing to hear, and just stay in contact with us. We here for you, so we'll keep going.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us. Please, again, enjoy the Sabbath and God bless you real good. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.